Let's talk about entitlement in video games. In case you live under a rock or haven't been paying attention, these last few weeks have been a little annoying for gamers. With the official debut of Diablo Immortal as well as the beta for Fallout 76, it's safe to say that tensions are beginning to rise between developers and gamers. There are even news articles with developers and game journalists calling the consumers entitled, chalking them up to basically being spoiled children who aren't getting their way, and that's wrong. Let me break something down for you real quick. Let's say I create a product. This product is a square, and it's a really good square. Now let's pretend that I have a competitor who also makes a square, and it's a pretty crap square. Now let's pretend that there's a huge market for squares. People are gonna buy my square, because my square is better. Eventually I become the name brand and represent everything great about the square. And then I make square 2, which is a cube. People love it, because I took the design and improved upon it, making it a brand new product with more use. Now, I'm feeling pretty good about myself, and I'm also raking in a bunch of profits. Somewhere along the line, I gain investors and people who want to be a part of my business. Now I have a company that produces really good squares and is loved by its fans. And then one day, someone comes up to me and says, "Hey, we noticed that there's still a market for a square, but instead of having you guys make it, we're going to outsource it to a company that ripped you off in order to cut costs, and we want it to look like this." Now, since I like money, and since I need these guys on my team to make money, I oblige, and we begin working on the new squares. And then we hold a conference to announce our latest product in a line of squares to our most dedicated and influential fan base, who bought plane tickets and conference tickets and merchandise, and they are all super excited to see us, and then we unveil this. And then people get upset. Do you see where I'm going with this? The problem with Diablo Immortal is not that the consumers are entitled, but is that the developers and their shareholders are. Blizzard is currently suffering from a disease called wanting to make money and appease our corporate overlords itis, which is typically fatal. It's perfectly reasonable for a wide consumer base who are huge fans of the product to be greatly upset by this reveal, as they were expecting a company that produces squares and has a track record of improving upon that square to release another improved square, but found out they're receiving an objectively inferior product. And in case you don't believe me yet when I say that the developers are the one that are entitled in this scenario, listen to this clip.
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
For those of you who don't speak whatever language this guy just said, allow me to translate it. Shut up and be glad we're giving you anything to begin with. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty entitled to me. Entitled to my time, entitled to my support, and most of all, entitled to my money. To call the rightly upset fans of Diablo entitled because they do not support the decisions of a company they have loyally followed since its beginning is childish and misinformed, and it takes the sides of corporations and paints the consumers in a bad light purely because the developers failed to satisfy their customers. This kind of behavior is counterproductive and virtually rewards bad marketing and terrible game decisions, telling developers that they can do no wrong, and if the consumer says otherwise, their opinion doesn't matter because they are children. Except it does matter. At the end of the day, no matter what you say, the consumer is the one that will buy and play your game. If you fail to impress and convince the consumer, you have failed as a developer and you have failed your product. There is no way around it. So stop calling your fans and your consumers entitled, because at the end of the day, you are the ones acting like you deserve something you didn't even try to earn. And before people call me a spoiled little fan of Diablo, I don't care about Diablo. I only played Diablo 3, and I thought it was mediocre.